For a year and a half now, I've been trying to get the good people of Coke Zero to sponsor me, and they just ignore me completely. So, despite the fact it doesn't taste as nice, I mean, that's probably a good start, we'll try Pepsi Max now. I mean, it's nothing to do with it being on offer for 24 cans for a £5 in Tesco at the moment. And to be fair, if Tesco want to sponsor me, that's fine too. What is a Football Manager video? Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Spanish leg of the Expedition of Gold. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're at home against Celtic in the Champions League and then at home against Villarreal in La Liga. Since you were last with me, we've only played a couple of games, mainly because I wanted to show you the Celtic game because I like it. Yeah, people get all excited when we play English and Scottish clubs, so I like excitement. I'm all about the excitement. So we've just had the one game, which was against Numancia. I think that's how you say it. We won 3-0. I don't know, we're very, very early days, but we have had an unbeaten start to the La Liga season and find ourselves in 4th place, challenging in and around all the right clubs. So a good start. We'll call that a good start. But we do have this Champions League business, and now similar to how when we were at Bayern Munich, our priority this season is not the Champions League. We want to win La Liga. However, just like with Bayern Munich, when we won the Bundesliga and went all the way through to the Champions League final, only to lose to Rayo Vallecano, I'm not going to deliberately throw the Champions League because we've won 2 of them with Tottenham. It would be nice to win a 3rd Champions League when we start thinking about the European Hall of Fame, because this is potentially, if we win La Liga this year, this is potentially our last season managing in Europe. As of right now, I'm 11th on the Hall of Fame. A La Liga win in itself should push us up into the top 10, but a La Liga win and another Champions League win, I mean, I don't know if top 5's pushing it a little bit, but it'll get us a little bit closer to, I mean, we're not going to get up with the likes of Mourinho, Guardiola, Ferguson. They've won far too many competitions. They didn't feel the need to go off to China and USA after they'd won the league once, like I do. But we want firmly established in the European top 10, and the Champions League is definitely going to help us to do that. So we do need to beat Celtic today. We need a good start to our group. Our group is, depending on how good Celtic are, and it's difficult because I've turned Scotland off. So the Scottish leagues have been on all the way through. We've managed in Hamilton in this save, but we've turned most of the European leagues off when we turned on all the other leagues worldwide that we want to go and manage in. So the Scottish League has been turned off for 2 or 3 seasons now, I think. So it's difficult to judge how good Celtic are going to be. We also have Man City and Malmo in our group. So I would like to think we can navigate Celtic today, and that'll at least get us a top 2 finish. We lose against Celtic and suddenly it becomes a very difficult group to get out of. So our team for today, we've got Abdul Rahman in goal. A back 4, we've switched things around a little bit. New boy Moldovan, who was playing centre-back in the last game, our £50 million centre-back that we brought in. We're now going to stick him out at left-back and bring Calvello, who was playing left-back, back into centre-back. We do have a perfectly adequate left-back on the bench in the shape of Nuhad, but he's 33 and massively, massively struggling for any kind of fitness. So I'm thinking we probably should have signed a left-back rather than an extra centre-back. But it's Moldovan, Calvello, Herrera and Rapage as our back 4. And then a midfielder, Fantin, Arnelt and Wagner, because Claudio Camacho, our Argentinian superstar, has picked up an injury. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks with whatever it said it was wrong with him, a sprained ankle. So Wagner comes in for a start. Oscar's still injured. He's going to be out until Christmas. So Sir Brian is going to start in behind. The first time you've seen our new superstar striker, David Pierani, who scored and got an assist on his debut a couple of days ago. Our £40 million Argentinian signing from Porto. And he's going to partner Keita up front. It was a bit of a coin toss between Keita and Umdouli. I'm saving Alim and Umdouli for La Liga. At the moment, we've only got 3 strikers at the club, especially while Oscar's injured, who was going to be our sort of backup for 4th choice striker, with Sir Brian coming into the team when we needed him. But with just the 3 strikers, we need to be quite careful how we use Umdouli, with him being 33 years old. So he played well at the weekend, got a couple of goals. Let's rest him. Keita is good enough. Pierani needs the games for fitness. So we're going to be rotating that front 3 quite a lot, because Umdouli probably is still our best striker. He's a club legend. He's scored gazillions of goals for Atletico over the years, but there's just no chance at all that he's going to play 40 La Liga games, or however many there are. 35. It won't be that, will it? It'll be an even number, Kev. That's how football works. Plus a Champions League, a deep run, plus whatever cups there are in Spain that we've not even looked at yet. Why is that also squashed up? It's because I was playing on my laptop, I think, and I've squashed up all the screens a little bit. Let's unsquash them so they don't look so weird. How do I unsquash that? Rapaz has got a free kick, which he's blasted into the wall. I'm more concerned with sorting out the width of my little boxes, though. So if anything happens, just shout at me, and I'll do my best to look up and see what's going on. Wagner on the edge of the area. Does a Wagner! We haven't had one of these since our days at Tottenham. Wagner has done a Wagner, and that's what he does. You don't notice him for games at a time. Then all of a sudden, usually when it really matters, he just pops up and just thwacks the ball into the goal from miles away. And there he is, just hovering around on the edge of the area. They've given him some space, which was just stupid. And he just doesn't miss from there. White boots and everything. Wagner has a goal for Atletico. It's 1-0 just before half-time. That was an important goal. Let's get straight into this second half and hopefully just finish them off fairly early on, and perhaps take a couple of these midfielders off, because we are getting a little bit low on midfielders. In fact, it's a really small squad of ageing players. This is a much harder task than Bayern was ever going to be. It's more similar to when we turned up at Tottenham, and it took us 5 years to create a Premier League winning team at Tottenham. But because of the way Football Manager is, the Premier League is always the most competitive league. So hopefully it's not going to take us 5 years. We need to be able to do it in 2, though, because I've decided I'm leaving in 2. I've given myself an arbitrary cut-off date. So we've got to make some good progress this year. Celtic are playing a diamond, which is interesting. I always quite fancy a diamond, but whenever I try it, just get massively overrun in midfield. If you've ever successfully got a diamond working, let me know down in the comments, because I'd quite like to have a go. I think it would sort out some of the deficiencies of the 4-3-1-2 that we use, which is that it's not very defensively solid. Cesar Tejero, I don't even know who he is. I mean, I'm really familiar with this squad. Oh, goodness me. We've just brought on a 16-year-old midfield player. I mean, he's going to be very good, but this seems like a bad idea, but we'll bring him on anyway, because that's how short of midfield players we are at the moment. So we're now effectively playing with just a 2 in the middle, because our third is a young lad who presumably isn't even fully grown yet. I mean, if he turns out to be good, all the better. I like developing a youngster as much as anybody. Right, Moldovan. Can he whip in a cross? I mean, that's a £50 million cross right there. I think we should be able to just about hold on. There's, 10 seconds to go. If we bottle it from here, I'm going to be grumpy. I warn you that now. But we haven't. It finishes 1-0. We get off to a winning start in our Champions League group, which is exactly what we needed. We just really need to keep an eye on Man City. And as long as we finish within a place of them, we should be going through. So now we move into a league game against Villarreal. So just the one change for the Villarreal game then, and it is the one I promised you before the last game. Mdouli comes back in up front. We do have a little bit more in the way of midfield options on the bench today as well. Camajo, I mean, he's not properly fit again, but he's fit enough to sit on the bench. And Farid Asensio, who for some reason I've managed to leave him out of my Champions League squad. I think it's because we were on the verge of sending him out on loan to Hull for the season, and then Oscar got injured, so we very quickly pulled the plug on that deal. And I think I'd probably already submitted. I don't know why. He's not in the Champions League squad anyway, but he can come back onto the bench today, and he's one of the better ones of our youngsters who can add a little bit of depth. So we have had our unbeaten start to the La Liga season. We're actually not the favourites for this game, considering we're at home. That's something of a surprise. I guess this is quite a strong Villarreal side, although, I mean, what kind of formation is that? They're just playing a good old-fashioned flat-back 6 with a couple of extra full-backs in front of them, really. I mean, it's about as negative as you can get. But presumably, They just sit there, soak up the pressure, knock the ball around the back, and then punish us with whoever their number 10 is, because we haven't seen a highlight with him on the ball yet. Not that it'll mean anything to us. There you go. Ibrahim is about to punish us. Luckily, he doesn't. Where are Villarreal in the league? They're down in the bottom half of the table. And again, I know it's very early days, but why are we not favourites for a match where we're at home and we won the league just over a year ago? You would think we would be considered favourites for a game like this. I really should investigate what makes Villarreal quite so good. But this is exactly what we said. They're just knocking the ball around very deep and looking for that ball over the top. And there is Ibrahim, and there is the goal. I knew it was coming. I just didn't have any way of stopping it happening because of tactical ineptitude. I guess there's a tactic that when you can see someone's doing that, I guess there's a way to play against it. My instinct is, well, if they're going to knock the ball around the back, let's just attack and score more goals than they do. But I don't know, are we supposed to sit back as well and force them to come out? But why would they come out? They're the away team. It's not a disaster for them if they end up drawing. We're the ones who have the onus on us to attack in front of our own fans, and they can just sit and soak that up with all their men behind the ball, knowing that they've got a prolific striker who, if he gets a couple of chances, is going to grab them a goal or two. And that's exactly what happened. And we're kind of in the reverse of that situation. We are very good going forward. I mean, they've done us like a bunch of kippers today. We are very good going forward. Good build-up play, create a lot of chances, but just haven't got that cutting edge up front. And it's going to cost us this season, I think. If we need a Malashev or a Wells or, I don't know, Iribarren. Who's the other guy? Clemente, Berger. For years, it's been years in this game since we've been at a team that doesn't have a prolific front man. And I don't know how well this tactic works without that 30-goal a season man, or preferably 2 of them, up front. Because when we did it for 20 seasons before we had that kind of striker, it wasn't exactly successful, was it? So this might be the season Kev gets undone. And I actually think if we have a really, really poor season and end up like not even qualifying for the Champions League or something silly like that, we might just call it a day at the end of this season and then move abroad and write this one off as a bad idea. We'll stick a Goober up front. Asensio can go in there. Don't get me wrong, this is a great long-term job for somebody to take on. And if I had 4 or 5 seasons, I would have done different transfers this summer, certainly, and built for the long term. Exactly the way we did when we turned up at Tottenham. We didn't just go and splurge money on a couple of players. We were carefully invested that money over a number of years and built a cracking squad. But we just didn't have time to do it here. And we were really, really caught out in that game. What on earth are we going to do when we play against somebody who's any good? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.